It's the nightcap here at San Jose Municipal Stadium, the home of the San Jose Giants. Today it belongs to high school baseball, the Central Coast Section Baseball Championships. This is the final game, the Division I title game. Third game on a slate in the first bracket that has held up to its seeding. The second-seeded Westmont Warriors bringing a 23-9 overall record in to face the top-seeded Wilcox Chargers, 24-8. Westmont located in Campbell, Wilcox located in Santa Clara. Thank you for tuning in to the NFHS Network's coverage of this prestigious event. I'm Kirsten Fairchild alongside Allie Williams. Allie, we've had a couple of one-run games. Leland beating Bellarmine 3-2 for the Open Division title to start things off. And then Branham, a 1-0 winner over St. Francis Central Coast Catholic School out of Watsonville. But those teams, the winners of the previous game, were both seeded number 8. Here we've got 1 versus 2. Someone certainly knew what they were doing when they seeded this bracket.
Yeah, well, the first couple of games that we saw, we might not have predicted the outcome or the two participants in the championship, but here you have the first and second seeded team, the Westmont and Wilcox, and both teams are coming in strong after strong finishes and relatively low-scoring games themselves. That's a pattern we've been seeing throughout the entire day, and coming into these seeds, Wilcox beat Menlo Atherton 2-1. Westmont overpowered Sequoia 2-0. So we could see the same low-scoring game, but at the same time, both of these teams are coming in hot and really hoping to take the title for the Division I championship.
A lot on the line for Westmont tonight. This is their first sectional final in baseball since 1982. They came up empty in that championship game, so looking for the first CCS baseball title in the school history. Wilcox 4 CCS titles, but that doesn't mean this is a common occurrence for the Chargers today.
Yeah, well, Wilcox may have more. Westmont came to the semis last year, made it real close to the championship, but it was just one victory away. So both teams have had relative success in the past few years, and just to see the two face off today will be a fun matchup between them.
Westmont is coached by Tony Pianto in his 8th year. Wilcox coached by a grad, Paul Rosa, in his 8th year as well. They have not played this season. Westmont finishing 3rd in the Blossom Valley Athletic League Mount Hamilton Division. Wilcox plays out of the Santa Clara Valley Athletic Division. A lot riding for the Mount Hamilton Division. They have a chance to sweep all 3 title games if Westmont can come through with a victory tonight.
Yeah, we saw Leland take the title, and then Branham followed suit, and so Westmont not only wants to win it for themselves, who knows how much they really want to win it for their division, but it's a little added bonus to see if Mount Hamilton can sweep the entire CCS championships today, and that's not something that happens every year.
Well, and also shut out the West Catholic Athletic League. Only one WCAL team making it through. That was Bellarmine in the Open Division. Remember, the Open Division brand new this year in terms of if you were a league champ or a co-league champ from an A-designated league, you played in the Open. So Leland with bragging rights that they were the very best team regardless of enrollment by beating Bellarmine. And Branham winning the D2, that was a smaller enrollment. This represents the larger enrollment D1 here today, and St. Francis the D1 champ last year when it was strictly enrollment. Willow Glen beat St. Ignatius 4-3 and 11 innings yesterday. Last year it was a marathon to win the D2 title. We're going to step away because that concludes the NFHS Network's pre-game show. Back with the first pitch in just a moment.
It's Wardell for the win! Skyview State Champs!
Be there. The NFHS Network. Download the app today.
great party.
Oh, thanks. Here you go. 1 hamburger, medium well.
This is well done.
No. That's medium well.
What? Are you calling me a liar? This thing is practically burned.
That's it. You're not going to come to my house and tell me how to cook a hamburger. I don't really...
You wouldn't do it there.
That'd be crazy.
So, don't do it here. Sportsmanship. It's up to you.
National studies show that students who participate in activities like music, sports, and drama not only have better grades and attendance, but they develop the character to handle adversity, the grace to accept defeat, and the self-confidence to start over. Take part. Get set for life.
One versus two here at San Jose's Municipal Stadium, the home of the San Jose Giants. Welcome back to the NFHS Network's coverage of CCS Baseball Saturday here on the NFHS Network. Our head coaches meeting with our referees at midfield. Kirsten Fairchills, Allie Williams bringing you the action. It's 1 versus 2. The second-seeded Westmont Warriors facing off against the top-seeded Wilcox Chargers. These two programs have not played since 2005. Westmont has the edge 3-0 over Wilcox over the past 15 years. Both of these teams red hot coming into this one.
Yeah, you know, they haven't played each other in almost a decade. So, you know, a lot has changed over the past few years, but both have been having excellent seasons, done what they can, and been able to make it all the way to the championship. And, you know, at this point, we were talking to both the coaches earlier, and they both kind of had the same point when we were asking them what are their strengths and, you know, what are they feeling about this game, which is really, if their pitcher's on, then they're going to do well. And that goes for both of them, whether it's Wilcox and Robert Gaylord or Westmont and William McMullen. And, you know, just both coaches were very, very strongly opinionated in the fact that just if you'll be able to tell early whether both of their pitchers will be able to really bring what they have before. And if they're on, then it's going to be a great game for both sides.
Absolutely. Wilcox coached by Paul Rosa in his 8th season. He played at Wilcox as well as West Valley, and the Chargers benefiting from a 6th-inning balk by Menlo Atherton ace Eric Amundsen. He's headed off to UC San Diego. And in fact, Amundsen was the one who tied the game at 1 apiece with an RBI double, but then his balk brought home the winning run. And that is why Wilcox is here today. And Westmont a 2-0 winner over Sequoia in a rather low-scoring affair that surprised many, as the Wilcox Chargers, the home seed, the home team, the top seed, take the mound and getting things started. Westmont leading off with Daniel Speciale, the center fielder, followed by Matt Hearn, the shortstop. William McMullen will hit third. He is the pitcher getting the start today. Mike Morbo, the third baseman, hitting fourth. Mitch Sancerre, the designated hitter, hitting in place of the first baseman, Kyler Thompson. Hans Hesse, the right fielder, will hit sixth. Sam Manilia, the left fielder, hitting seventh. Ethan Go, the catcher, follows, and then Brandon Nichijima, the second baseman, hitting ninth today, setting the Chargers defense. In left field, Jordan Kassem. Bradley Wilson in center, Robert Bowles in right. Eric Madonka is the starting third baseman. Adam Rios, the shortstop. Jacob Martinez over at second. Patrick Tolbert, the anchor, at first. The catcher is Lorenzo Martinez, and rounding out the battery is Robert Gaylord. Gaylord getting the start today for Wilcox, and Wilcox will look to Gaylord for both on offense and defense. He's got good power at the plate. Wilcox with probably the least amount of options, the fewest amount of options in terms of pitching we'll see from any team today. Expect for Gaylord to go quite the distance today, if not all the distance.
Well, we certainly saw earlier on when Leland played Bellarmine how Leland played with 3 different pitchers throughout the season, throughout the game, and Bellarmine stuck with one. Branham, who ended up taking home the Division II title, had their pitcher complete a 7-inning shutout of St. Francis.
Speciale sends the first pitch to center field, out number 1, as Hearn, the shortstop, comes up to bat. Wilcox's number 2 pitcher, Justin Contreras, out for the season, earlier in the season with an injury, and he has been a big loss for this Wilcox team, but you wouldn't know it. Here they are, the top seed, and playing for a CCS title. The left-hander throws ball 1 to Hearn.
It's going to be really important for them to be able to get those quick outs, like we just saw, the 1 pitch, 2 pitches per at bat, in order for Gaylord to be able to stay in longer and really save the rest of that pitching staff today.
2-0 the count. Our plate umpire today is Dan McLean. Down at first is Tim Gardner and Jason Penrod at third. 3-0 to Hearn. Four-pitch walk. 1 out, 1 on for the Westmont starting pitcher, William McMullen. And obviously the Warriors wearing their black and red jerseys, gray pants, and Wilcox out in the field, black and white for the Chargers with white pants. Only one team today wearing the whites. That was St. Francis. Inside for strike 1. Healthy lead for Hearn, the shortstop. As Gaylord throws over. Lefty versus lefty. Here in this at-bat. Runner going. And he's out. Third time today we have seen a runner get caught in a rundown and picked off. Leaning the wrong way.
Yeah, you know, you almost wonder if Hearn had kept going towards second if he had been able to make it, because by the time that Gaylord was able to throw it to first, he was already halfway to second, and then he just kind of stopped because he realized that the pitch was not at home plate. And if you at this point, it's early in the game, but we'll see how that may or may not come back to haunt them later on.
Gaylord breathing a little easier on the mound. And also with this 0-2 count here on the number 3 hitter. One and 2. Come back over the pitcher's head. The shortstop comes crashing in and got him. So despite the speed of McMullen, Rios making the play for the Warriors. No runs, no hits, no one left on base, and heading into the bottom of the first, 0-0 the score, as Eric Madonka, the third baseman for Wilcox, he will lead off, followed by the shortstop Rios. Lorenzo Martinez, the catcher, will hit third. Bradley Wilson, the center fielder, in the cleanup spot. Patrick Tolbert, the first baseman, hitting fifth. Robert Gaylord in the sixth spot. He is the starting pitcher. And Andrew Najeeb-Brush, The designated hitter today for the right fielder, Robert Bowles. Jacob Martinez, the second baseman, to hit 8th, followed by Jordan Kassem, the left fielder, rounding out the lineup. And defensively, Westmont Warriors. In left field, Sam Manilia, Daniel Speciale in center. Hans Hesse in right. Mike Morbo is the third baseman. Matt Hearn at shortstop. Brandon Nichijima at second. Kyler Thompson at first. Ethan Go, the starting catcher on a Westmont team that is filled with capable catchers. In fact, 4 of them. William McMullen, the starter today for the Warriors.
Yep. And it's going to be important for Wilcox to really capitalize on picking off Hearns at first earlier in that season, in the top of this inning, and see if they can get something going too. You know, while Westmont wasn't quite able to do anything with the walk, they were able to at least get a runner on base, and so Wilcox will hope to do the same and hopefully a little bit more. But, you know, starting off with Mendonca, Rios, and Martinez are a solid first 3 for Wilcox. You know, Rios is one of those that Coach Rosa mentioned being such a leader on the team, and we'll definitely get back to that as he comes up to the plate.
Westmont, essential for them today to throw first pitch strikes. That was a ball. In the dirt for ball 2. We've seen some jitters in the early going of both prior games. Called strike for 2-1.
Certainly hard to tell. Both coaches mentioned that we'll be able to see it early if their pitchers have it, but also, like we've mentioned in previous championship games, this is such a huge game for so many of these players. It's possibly the last thing that they're doing before they head out for the summer, before they end their season. And, you know, this is such a big occasion that it's so important that they start off strong with make sure that they stay centered and focused, even with such an electrifying atmosphere here at Municipal Stadium.
Certainly a fun place to play. The semis held here. An expansive outfield, very different from a lot of high school ballparks. Low again, count now full to the leadoff hitter, Eric Mendonca. Willie McMullen on the mound. The payoff pitch fouled off the leg of Mendonca. The seniors of the Warriors. It's been a long road to this point, getting better and better each year. See if their championship medal here today. Base on balls, Mendonca perhaps waiting for his earshot of a called strike. Instead, right away, Wilcox with the base runner as Adam Rios steps in.
Well, you wonder if maybe he was watching the earlier games, because in the earlier games, the home plate umpire sometimes was a little delayed with his calls, so he didn't want to necessarily throw the bat out of the way until you were sure you were actually heading down to first base.
Back-to-back left-handed hitters. And they're going to say hit by a pitch. So a hit batsman allows the runner to advance. It seemed he was going anyways. We have had a hit batsman in every single game, and back in the first one, each team, in fact, I think 3 in total. So no outs, 2 on for the catcher, Lorenzo Martinez.
Yeah, it's definitely not the way that Westmont wanted to start out in the field, but, you know, it's again the jitters of this first inning, and they really need McMullen to be able to settle down and, you know, pay attention to the runners in scoring position as well, you know, just really the base runners in general. And with no outs, it's important to keep an eye on them, but also just try to limit any more damage or any more runners on base and just get the outs that they need.
Martinez, team captain, the team captain for this Wilcox squad. And the catcher losing track of the ball, and Westmont fortunate that Mendonca held up.
Yeah, I didn't quite see where the ball was at that point because, you know, the Westmont catcher was able to find it fast enough, but it kind of split away from him for a while, and it looks like it was far enough away from Mendonca to potentially take third and get rid of that force out at second or at third.
1-0 the count to Lorenzo Martinez. There is Jacob Martinez on the team as well. Upstairs for 2-0. Right down the middle for strike one. 2-1 the count. No outs. 2 on, bottom of the first, 0-0 the score. First time today we didn't have a team score in the top of the inning. And the bunt attempt goes foul. Caught the edge of the grass.
Yeah, well, we saw the Leland Bellarmine game where it first pitch or the first batter hit the triple to right field, ended up getting thrown out at home, but then later on the fielder's choice ended up resulting in a run for Bellarmine, and unfortunately for the Bells they were not able to hold on to that lead. But then you see the Branham game, a walk turned into the only run of the entire game in the top of the first. So far this is a completely different ball game than we've seen the other two games.
That is exactly right. This one, I think, out of any of them, expected to be the highest scoring affair. As full count now, Lorenzo Martinez. Opportunity here for the Chargers. Syncopated clapping, and they're calling a punch out. Lorenzo Martinez on his way to first. Instead, it's a strikeout. 1 down, 2 on. Bradley Wilson, the center fielder, steps in.
That was a huge strikeout for McMullen. Instead of loading the bases with no outs, you keep the runners at first and second with 1 down and just keep pushing through and try to keep it going. And you know, McMullen's been pretty solid for Westmont throughout the season. He has a 184 ERA over 45 and 2/3 innings. So you know, he's been very solid for Westmont so far.
Runner going down to third, but the throw in time. Is the tag applied? It is. So despite some hiccups by Westmont early in this inning, they have 2 outs after the throw down in time.
And again, just like we saw with the strikeout, taking out one more runner off the bases takes even more pressure off of McMullen to just focus on the runner and try to get this one out, being able to keep an eye on the runner at first out of the corner of his eye.
2-0 the count to Wilson. Wilson hitting .342 on the year. Go framing that pitch. Getting the call. So the shadows across the infield, part of the outfield down in deep right, and 75 degrees here for the 7 p.m. game. Wind blowing right to left. As McMullen continues to check the runner.
Spoke with the coach from St. Francis in the 4 p.m. game, and he mentioned that they played the 7 o'clock game in their first game here at Municipal Stadium, how difficult the shadows were for the players out in the outfield, and said at one point one of their fielders just kind of lost the ball in the sun just because shadows have such an impact on really your perception of where everything is, your depth perception, and just really the game situation as a whole.
And the runner will advance off the passed ball. That is Rios down at second. So in our previous games, it was the little miscues that added up.
And there were a lot of 2-out miscues that certainly happened as well.
Yeah, just when you thought a team would be able to get out of a inning rather easily, your timeout on the field was extended. Chopper taken by the shortstop, and you see the arm of Stern. Wilcox, no runs on no hits, one left stranded after one. Still tied 0-0.
Become a subscriber of the NFHS Network and never miss a single event. The NFHS Network gives subscribers access to live game coverage, replays, and highlights of high school sports from around the country. Learn more at www.nfhsnetwork.com.
Kirsten Fairchilds alongside Allie Williams. Big thanks to the folks here at San Jose Municipal Stadium as well as the Central Coast section. Terrific venue for high school sports. And the San Jose Municipal Stadium, the home of the San Jose Giants. Wilcox and Westmont. Baseball programs have not played since 2005. People a lot of times think Wilcox is in the Blossom Valley Athletic League, that they are located in San Jose, and that is not the case. They're in Santa Clara, playing the Santa Clara Valley Athletic League, De Anza Division. As Mike Morbo leads things off here in the second, and Mike Morbo scoring the run in the semifinals with a sacrifice fly for an RBI. And then came back and singled and had a run score, the winning run, back in the semifinals as our officiating crew, the referees, conversing with our coaches. Not sure if it's a dugout issue. When we were on the field before the second game, there are particular places in the dugout where the players are not supposed to be. I'm not sure if that's the issue here. Is the pitcher now involved?
Well, I also see no third baseman right now. And whether that's because of what it's about,
maybe an equipment issue needs to be attended to, or a glove, most likely a glove or so.
Maybe you had to run to the restroom really fast. That's happened.
So a brief delay here between the first and the second. Westmont leads off with Morbo, followed by the DH, Sancier. The Warrior Way, the motto of the Westmont Warriors. Have fun, play hard for 7 innings, communicate on every play, only give 21 outs in a game. No wonder they're so successful this year.
Yeah, talking to the coach for the Westmont Warriors earlier, he showed us the way that they play and gave us those rules and said that just basically gave us that list and said this is what we do and this is how we've succeeded so far, and seems to be working up to this point.
Yeah. So Wilcox's Gaylord trying to stay loose out on the mound. Mike Morbo waiting to take his place in the batter box, as not sure what the issue is with, or was with, Eric Madonko. He's tying his left cleat. But out he comes as Morbo, the junior, in his second year of varsity. Favorite baseball player is Buster Posey. He actually came up for the postseason last year with varsity. He was first team all-league selection on the junior varsity team and voted most valuable player by that team. Top of the second, 0-0 the score. The number 4 hitter to lead off. He takes ball 1. A little blooper to short. Rios makes the play, 1 down.
And Gaylord is really going to try to bounce back after that quick first inning after walking a batter, Matt Hearn, that was then picked off from first. And so it was ended up being a quick 1-2-3 inning. And so Gaylord is certainly going to try to continue that trend, only potentially without any base runners this inning.
Sancier, the designated hitter, hitting in place of the first baseman Thompson, takes strike 1. Last year on the junior varsity squad, recorded 44 hits. 1-1, the count to Sancier. Three and 1, the count. Base on balls, the second walk of the game by Gaylord. And with 1 down, Hans Hesse, the right fielder, has a base runner.
That's the second time that he's walked the second batter of the inning after getting a quick first out. And so this time, you'd think that Westmont will be a bit more careful on the base paths to avoid what happened last inning.
And the throw down, not in time. Foul ball. Hesse, who in his free time volunteers at a children's recreation center. Hesse, though, winning pitcher in the semifinal. Allowed 3 hits, no walks.
Okay.
The 0-1. Ground ball to short. Double play. In time. 6-4-3. Ends the inning. Heading into the bottom of the second, 0-0 the score. The Wilcox Chargers, nervous energy before this game.
Yeah, you know, you could really feel the pressure before the game and really just how much this means to both sides. But, you know, talking to the coach beforehand for Wilcox, it was really very focused. You know, I mentioned earlier, you know, some players just don't want to talk before the game. Some coaches, they just want to focus on their game, and we're able to chat with them for a little while, but, you know, it's a very important moment, long journey to get to this point, and people the teams will handle their energy going into these kind of championship games very differently that we've seen over these past 3 games.
5, 6, and 7 due up for Wilcox. No hits yet in this ball game, although we have had base runners, walks, and a hit batsman. As Patrick Tolbert, the first baseman, leads off. Tolbert, 19 RBI in the season. His coach calls him a force at the plate. As Gaylord, the pitcher, on deck. San Jose Muni, side of the Central Coast section, Division I championship game. Ball 1 from McMullen.
It's a little hard to still tell at this point whether the pitchers have really settled in yet. You know, while they haven't given up a hit quite yet, they still are definitely being able to get out of important plays or somewhat dicey situations. And as we've looked over, the Westmont Warrior fan club has certainly come out in full force to our right.
Bit of a commotion in the crowd. A bunch of young men have taken off their shirts and painted either Westmont or Warriors, but looks like a school administrator has come on over and asked them to cover up.
Well, I'm sure they appreciate the sentiment and the overall meaning of their support of their beloved baseball team. It does look like the Westmont letters on their chests are being covered up as we speak.
Shirts are going to need some washing. 2-2 the count to Tolbert. McMullen doing a good job not getting distracted, as a lot of the fans looking the wrong way. They're looking up in the bleachers instead of the action on the field.
Better hope there's no foul balls coming their way anytime soon.
That's exactly right. 3-2, the count now full to Tolbert.
It's a good thing that they came out during the 7 o'clock game, because if they had come out 1 or 4 o'clock, they probably would have been very burnt by now. That sounds painful.
And a foul ball coming right their way, actually a few rows ahead. As Tolbert causing the fans to scramble. Westmont side of the bleachers. And PA announcer making the request to turn the ball to a CCS official. Payoff pitch. Sent to the left center gap. Perhaps the best struck ball of the entire day, as Tolbert hold up at on first. A leadoff single for the Wilcox Chargers.
It looked like it came right off the sweet spot of the bat, just in between the center and the right fielder. To the outfielders were able to get it to just quick enough, but we now have a runner on first for Wilcox and no out.
That's right, the Chargers going for a pinch runner, and it'll be Dominic McNutt running in place of Tolbert. Gaylord, the pitcher, again, lefty versus left, or excuse me, in this case, righty versus lefty, as McMullen bats left, but of course throws right. No outs, one on for the pitcher Gaylord. Our fans who were asked to put their shirts on seem so glum.
Sometimes, you know, just can't show your bare chest at the baseball game, I guess. These rules.
Want to know the count to Gaylord. First hit of the ball game, registered by Tolbert. McNutt in to pinch run. And a balk issued as Tolbert, pinch runner McNutt, is down to second, and out comes member of the Westmont coaching staff. And I know the word ironic is often misused. Wilcox benefiting from a balk to reach this championship game. Now Westmont, and not that crucial of a situation at first glance, delivers one here.
It's certainly important, though. It takes off the force play for Westmont, so now he, you know, the pitcher has to focus a little bit more and keep an eye out on second. But, you know, with no outs, this is really a very helpful situation for Wilcox. And then Gaylord at the plate at this point, being able to potentially help himself out.
1-0 the count. First base empty as second baseman bobbles, but recovers. It got him. However, McNutt down at third as Najeeb DHing today for the right fielder Bowles. So runner in scoring position.
And you also see the effects of that now with a runner on third with one out. You know, the shot that was right at the second baseman could potentially have gone to second just to get that lead runner out. And now we still have a very positive situation for Wilcox with one runner on third, one down, and the DH coming up.
Brandon Nishijima doing a good job recovering at second to still make the play. Now we will see the stuff that McMullen and company are made of. 1-0 the count to najeeb-brush. Right down the middle for 1-1. The run driven in thanks to Andrew Najeeb-Brush. McNutt scores. Wilcox up 1-0. RBI single by Andrew Najeeb-Brush.
And, you know, Najeeb-Brush might not be on the mound today, but he went actually he finished a complete game in his last, and when he was being talked to after his game, he mentioned that this is the best team that he's ever played for, and, you know, what a huge hit for him to be able to help this team that he really respects so much.
Jacob Martinez, the second baseman, runner on, 1 out, 1 in, and Najeeb-Brush could go 3 today. He would be allowed to pitch 3 innings. And again, Wilcox having a limited bullpen because of the injury to Contreras. Again, these decisions that need to be made by these coaches. However, right now the Chargers in the driver's seat with a 1-0 lead. We've had a come-from-behind victory in our first game and a 1-0 win as potential double play. And Westmont turns it. The 6-4-3. 1 run for the Chargers on 2 hits. No one left on base, no Westmont errors. Chargers lead it 1-0 after 2. We're going to step away for a moment, return with inning number 3 of the Central Coast Section Division I Championship game.
It's Wardell for the win! Go State Champs!
Be there. The NFHS Network. Download the app today.
Top of the third, up next for the Central Coast Section Division I Championship game, the Wilcox Chargers. A 1-run lead as Westmont steps up to bat here in the third. It's the left fielder, Manilia, leading off for the Warriors. Kirsten Fairchild, Allie Williams bringing you the action on the NFHS Network.
Yeah. And Wilcox was able to push that run across in that last inning, but, you know, Westmont was still able to stay very strong in that and really have McMullen come back and initiate that double play to just limit the damage to 1 and keep his team in it. So even with having some issues, he was able to keep it going.
3-pitch strikeout for out number 1, and the catcher, Ethan Go. His first at-bat, hitting in the number 8 spot. Ethan Go, not even in the varsity program. Well, let's make sure that's a correct statement. I believe he was brought up from junior varsity when the injury to Gavin Paradise, and he's been doing a terrific job, according to head coach. Shows bunt, instead takes strike 1.
It's just
1-1.
Yeah, oh, sorry. He's just one of 2 freshmen on the team, along with Evan Phillips of the Westmont Warriors, and he's just been such a great replacement for them to be able to bring him to the championship tonight.
Such an interesting scenario to have a freshman catcher on varsity. Go listed at 5'8", 130 pounds. But obviously a backstop of a catcher as he lines out to second for the second out. That brings up the bottom of the order Brandon Nichijima, the second baseman. And Nichijima, 5'5", 130-pound sophomore. But he brought the fans today. Strike 1. Also plays basketball. Likes to fish. Westmont trailing 1-0. Top of the third. Fouls the pitch off for 1 and 2.
It is nice to see their extracurriculars, extra interest, because especially in the end stretch of this baseball season, the practices throughout the season, throughout the week, and really doing this really takes a toll on these players.
2 strikeouts in the inning as Gaylord retires the side. Heading into the bottom of the third, Wilcox with a 1-0 lead. And the Chargers will lead off with their number 9 hitter, the left fielder, Jordan Kassem.
The Westmont offense didn't give their pitcher a whole lot of time to really kind of settle to, rest a little bit in their dugout, but McMullen was able to, nudge that double play out to get out of the inning, and both sides have been able to get through their outings relatively quickly so far, and we'll see how McMullen kind of comes back after allowing the first run to Wilcox last inning.
Chasm called a scrapper by his head coach. Paul Rosa, the third base coach today for Wilcox, his assistant Dave Curry, the first base coach. These two teams on a tear, seeded 1 and 2 in this D1 bracket. Again, first meeting of the past 9 years. We've seen a few. Bellarmine and Leland had played before, but not St. Francis nor Branham. And here, two schools located fairly close together, but playing in different leagues. McMullen opens with strike 1.
And that's certainly something we're seeing with this new shakeup of the divisions. We're starting to see teams that might not have faced each other beforehand, whether it's because of school size or, their own success in the past years or whatever. But it's interesting to see these new matchups that you don't necessarily know what the other one has to bring to the table, and you have to adjust as the game goes on.
Potentially new rivalries starting today here at the 2014 Central Coast Section Playoffs. The 1-1 delivery to Chasm. Ball 2. Three and 1 the count. McMullen has given up 2 hits. It's 1 walk, 1 strikeout, 1 walk, also a hits batsman. So he comes back with strike 2 to work the count full. Outfield in shadows, the outfield in the sunshine, including the shortstop. As contact made by Chasm. Speciale with the out. And that'll bring up the top of the order. Eric Madonka received a walk to start things off. Then thrown out at third.
Yep, and so now all the entire lineup has seen McMullen, so I wonder if that's going to start happening a little bit more, the timing, or just getting used to the pitcher.
The 1-out single to left field. And Madonko getting dirty, getting back as up steps Rios. Rios hit by a pitch and advanced on a passed ball. after Adonka was thrown out, I believe. One down, one on. Wilcox playing with a 1-0 lead. The throw down to second. And Ethan Go having a difficult time off the mark. And the stolen base for Madonka.
Yeah, throw a little bit to the left of the base if you're facing the outfield. And, you know, that's sometimes what you see from the freshman, the lack of experience. Sometimes it's just an errant throw. But, you know, for what Go has been doing, he's been a very solid replacement for Westmont. But sometimes you just see those kind of things coming through.
Fouled back and out of play. Mendonca, the junior, actually, not surprisingly, leads the team in on-base percentage, as you would want for a leadoff hitter. What is surprising is that he leads the team in RBI. Your leadoff hitter with 22 RBI. That tells you the bottom of the order can get on base. Wilcox fans wanting a ball called. 1-1, the count to Rios. Rios was hit by a pitch in his last at-bat. Close call there.
And Rios was really one of the players that Coach Paul Rosa had mentioned as being such a leader for the Wilcox Chargers throughout both the postseason and the season itself, both on and off the field. Really just mentioned being both a leader as far as skill and drive goes, but also as sort of an emotional support for the players. It's such a huge opportunity to be where they're at, and you know, you really have to band together as a team and work well.
3-1, the count to Rios. As McMullen steps off. And a look from Rios to our plate umpire. And the catcher Go heading on out to his pitcher. That is the second walk. And out comes coaching staff. Conversation, the infield huddles up. And the runners come over to converse with our head coach, Paul Rosa. 1 down. 2 on for Wilcox, playing with a 1-0 lead, and that's going to be the afternoon, the evening for William McMullen. As McMullen would have faced the next batter, his only strikeout in Lorenzo Martinez. In fact, Martinez having a great year at the plate, so a very good strikeout indeed. But Westmont makes the pitching change, and coming on is Riley Fong, the 5'9", 150-pound junior right-hander.
Yeah, Fong has been in 34 innings for the Warriors with a 1.85 ERA. So he's been, you know, just as a strong addition to the staff for Westmont. Also with, you know, giving up just 9 earned runs, 12 walks, 21 strikeouts, and a few extra base hits coming on here. So Westmont will really hope to keep the lead or their own deficit to just 1 run. And, you know, we mentioned before, the coach really said that you'll know if their pitcher has it or not. And, you know, he only, with Martinez coming up, the only strikeout that McMullen had in the game, maybe Coach Tony just decided that right now is a good time to bring in the new guy and to see how that'll work out for the Warriors.
McMullen gives up 3 hits.
Now back to the Chargers, catcher number 7, Lorenzo Martinez.
2 walks. One hits batsman. And one strike. And he heads over to right field, which sends Hans Hesse to first base to replace Kyler Thompson. Remember, that kind of move, keeping Hesse in the game. Perhaps we'll see him on the mound as well. But it's time for Riley Fong, the junior, to get to work. Bottom of the third. 2 on, 1 out. Ball 1 from Fong.
Fong comes into this game with runners on first and second, 1 out, and just hoping to stop the Westmont Warriors stop the Wilcox Chargers before they can add on to their lead.
Martinez sends one to center field. Speciale comes in and makes the play as the runners unable to advance. And Speciale with his cap flying off, making the play. For out number 2. And that'll bring up Bradley Wilson. Wilson grounded out to short. Back in the first inning, and Bradley Wilson hitting .342, 15 RBI in the season. Perhaps the most athletic Wilcox Charger out on the field today. Inside corner for strike 1. Good turnout for this evening game. Second Chargers team we are seeing today. Leland victorious in the open division. Yes, Fong will converse with Go, and a big congratulations to Archbishop Mitty, Carlmont, and Notre Dame of Salinas, your 2014 Central Coast Section softball champions. Very entertaining day over at Pal Stadium, Police Activities League Stadium. All completed before this 7 p.m. game got started. So nice to see the Central Coast section staff working that venue come on over and help their counterparts here. As big round of applause for Fong as 0-2 the count on Wilson. Driven down the left field line. 1 run comes in, mishandled in left field. Here comes run number 2, and in at third, nope. Out is Wilson, but not before runs score. And it's a 3-0 ball game after Wilcox's Wilson delivers.
It was great for Westmont to throw Wilson out at third, but really almost breaking the game open for Wilcox as far as the games we've seen thus far. We haven't seen a 3-run lead yet today, but very timely hitting and taking advantage of the runner in scoring position as well as the runner on first. And great job by Wilson to find his pitch and just really just drive that liner out to left field to be able to score his teammates and kind of expand their lead.
Interesting to see what that hit has scored. 2 RBI in for Wilson, but mishandled, kicked about a little in left field. Perhaps allowing that second run to score. But the play made at third. And after 3 innings, the top-seeded Wilcox Chargers playing with a 3-0 lead.